Hey city boys, it's me, your favorite producer, your favorite director, your favorite movie commentator, your favorite movie breakdowner. That's not a word, but I just made it. It's me, City Boys. It's Saint. And today we are going to be doing a movie breakdown on Pootie Tang. City say, city sao, Pootie Tang. And we are going to break down a movie. If you guys have not seen my first ever movie breakdown, I did it on They Live. And I'm just going to let you guys know we're going to go through the whole movie, scene by scene. Yes, I am going to give my interpretation of the film. We're going to be talking about color theory. We're going to be talking about background. We're going to be talking about different materials used in the movie. We're going to be talking about different lines that they use in the script. We're also going to be connecting this to history. City Boys, it's a lot going on, so please buckle up and get ready for this video. I hope you guys enjoy it. I have multiple interpretations of what this overall movie means, so I'm going to give them as I have documented it. But overall, Pootie Tang is a white person's perception of black life. They do not understand it, but they understand the significance of blackness, so they want a piece of it. That is the overall point of this movie. This film is a mashup of everything black, a beautiful mixture, honestly, of blaxploitation movies of the 60s and 70s mixed with early 2000s music videos. So it's like if you mix Dolomite, and I say Dolomite because, for one, if you guys have ever seen Dolomite, I might put this on the list of new movies to review. It's not high on the list, I'm gonna be honest, but I will put it on the list because it is so cheap, but it's funny. It's very DIY, okay? Let me just say it like that. The movie is very DIY, but the main character, Dolomite, very much carries the film, just like how Pootie Tang does. In the movie, Dolomite makes up a lot of words on the fly. A lot of times, I don't even think the other people know exactly what Dolomite is saying, but it is the essence of blackness that these two men spill out, Dolomite and Pootie Tang. The words that they use is like a mixture of jive. They're speaking in jive, they're speaking in AAVE, they're speaking in slang. And a lot of those words, it's not about the words that you're using, but it's about the soul and the energy and the emphasis on the words and the emotion on the words that you provide. So the film starts off with a late night interview, reminiscent of a Jimmy Kimmel late night show. And it's Pootie Tang and it's this white man. And he is being interviewed because Pootie Tang has a new movie coming out, and it's called Sign Your Pity on the Runny Kind. Okay, per. The interviewer talks about all the success that Pootie Tang has gotten himself into when it comes to music, acting. Girl, Pootie Tang does pottery, girl, martial arts, and he's very much an inspiration to the children, showing the children that they literally can be anything that they possibly want to be. And Pootie Tang literally just said, he's just a Pone Tony, okay? Dealing with a prepper town. He's just doing what he does. For Pootie Tang, it's not what's on him, it's what's in him, okay? Pootie Tang is just that guy. So the interview continues with I feel like he's a very coy guy. he doesn't boast himself up too much. But then the interview continues to go on and saying that he's an inspiration to the kids. Pootie Tang basically takes this as not just oh, thank you for saying that, but that means a lot to Pootie Tang. Then we are shown to the clip of his movie, Shine Your Pity on the Runny Kind. So this clip starts off in 2001 Chicago, okay? This is the best of times, as Chucky says, he's the narrator, and it's the worst of times. So the best of times, it's the best for the one percenters, or I would say the upper middle class to one percenters, because they are making money in the stock market, they are partying, they are girls snorting coke, they are having a great time. But now it's the worst of times for the average folk, because yes, we are partying, but we're doing two different partyings. The rich is partying celebrating, we're partying numbing, okay? There's a two difference. But then on top of that, the drugs are getting bad. The people on the street strung out because they have nothing else to look forward to, nothing else to live
Everything else was falling around them, but the only thing that stayed constant in their life was Pootie Tang.
The scene changes and it shows a drug deal about to go on. So we are introduced with Bad Biddy. He's waiting to pick up some money from this man named Dirty D. Dirty D is literally really dirty. He's covered in dirt. But he represents the dirtiness of corporate America. He's doing all of corporate America's dirty work. So Dirty D asks Bad Biddy, how do I know if this cocaine that you are selling me is really good? So Bad Biddy, he's bad. He ends up calling over this little boy. And as they call the boy over, it plays nursery kind of music. The little boy asks Dirty D, is it candy? He says yes. It's the kind of candy that you smoke out of a pipe. And I wanted to put a little bit of emphasis on this portion of the conversation. It shows how these drugs are easily infiltrating these impoverished communities just like candy. They're both unhealthy. They're both easily accessible. Especially growing up in a black neighborhood, there's a lot of these candies or chips or drinks that are not in these other communities. They're only in these black communities. Why? Just like these drugs are easily found. I'm not saying that they're not in any other community, but they're so easily found in these communities. Why? And guess who shows up? The fine nanny patty daddy Pootie Tang. And Pootie Tang shows up. He's coming out of his blue C3 Chevrolet Corvette convertible. I don't know. The C3. Yes, there are C3s. 3 C's. That number 3 is important. We're going to keep that in our minds for later on in this movie. You guys know I'm going to bring up the red, white, and blue. I'm bringing this up in every single one of my films to show you guys the messaging that they are putting in these films. So the red, white, and blue, we always see that as America, right? We're going to talk about that red, white, and blue palette, but we're going to just talk about the blue right now. The blue in Pootie Tang's car represents what? Vigilance. This is shown in the scene by him stopping the little boy from smoking the crack in the film. Pootie Tang always shows up at the right moment because he is vigilant. He may not be there physically, but spiritually, he is always in every room and he's waiting for every opportunity. Pootie Tang comes out the car, winding his waistline, moving those hips. I do believe Pootie Tang is autistic. We'll continue down the movie and we'll show more times where he shows that he is autistic. But I don't think this film is doing it in a way to make fun of people that are on the spectrum. It's more so showing the kind of talents and extra gifts that these people possess because they are seen as a little bit different from everybody else around them. One of the signs of Pootie Tang being on the spectrum is the way that he speaks. He is very literal with his words and his thoughts, as well as with how he describes each character, because you guys gotta remember this, that this whole movie is Pootie Tang's movie. Sign your pity on the runny kind. He's naming this guy Dirty D, Bad Biddy. Everything is very, very literal. As Pootie Tang makes his entrance, he tells Dirty D that he's a bad daddy lamatai tabby tie. And you know what they do? They pull out their guns and they just start shooting at Pootie Tang. And Pootie Tang hits the Matrix. He just starts bobbing and weaving, like kind of like Little Kim, bobbing and weaving. He's hitting bullets with his ponytail, just bobbing and weaving. After dodging all these bullets, Pootie Tang just starts whipping them with his belt. He just whipping them, going crazy. And while he's going crazy, Dirty D thinks he's about to get away. Pootie Tang jumps on the back of the car holding on and starts beating Dirty Dan with his belt. Drives Dirty Dan through a car wash and cleans. After cleaning Dirty Dan, girl, Pootie Tang just looks at the camera and he says, "Sad I say." And now we are in the Pootie Tang's music video. This is where I'm really getting my Foxy Brown blaxploitation, because there's a song for every character. There's a song for every situation. There's always a song. So in this music video, he is just dancing around. He's grooving. He's wearing cowrie shell necklace. We're going to talk about this more at the end. The cowrie shells are used to represent status, wealth in Africa. They were used as like currency or trading, believed to be like the first kind of way of trading. He's wearing a fur coat, a red and black zebra striped shirt. He's being rained on by confetti and sparkles, just dancing in his own world. A little awkward compared to the women dancing around him, but still. The color palette is rather on the more like neutral side, with pops of red on Pootie Tang in one of the women dance. So you see, we're getting more of our red representation. Red representing courage, readiness to sacrifice, or to represent the bloodshed, those who fought to protect the freedoms of the people. That's foreshadowing. It then cuts to Pootie Tang's backstory. He was born in Indiana in a town called Chicago. It was then discussed that Pootie Tang had his own kind of way of speaking. And at first, his parents took him to the doctor. They took him to the hospital. They ran a whole bunch of like research on him, did a lot of studies on his brain, and they still didn't understand why Pootie Tang was just too cool for words. Then cuts to 1979, and Pootie Tang is one of the most popular little kids. He's a little kid. He's like wearing like the mini version of his clothes in the movie, and it's actually so adorable. No one knew what Pootie Tang was saying, but at the same time, they always knew what he meant. And while this is all going on, grown women are going crazy for little Pootie Tang. This is disgusting. I just have to put this out there. This is so nasty. It shows like the fast or like premature adultification and sexualization of little black boys. They made no point to validate these actions. They just see it as normal. Little black boys and girls never get the luxury of being true children. They are always forced to grow up faster than their white peers. So it then talks about the history. We're not getting the full history yet, but like the history of Pootie Tang's belt. Pootie Tang got his belt from his father, and his father was very much a disciplinary. And Pootie Tang always talks about like how fast his father was with that belt to correct him or correct any behaviors that Pootie Tang's father saw as disrespectful or saw as something that is not beneficial for Pootie Tang in the long run. One of his friends, I think it was Truckee, was trying to convince Pootie Tang to steal an apple, and his father is nowhere near Pootie Tang, but that belt just comes out of nowhere and whips Pootie Tang's hand as soon as he goes to pick up the apple. To me, it also shows passed down of trauma, black trauma, and I mean this in all diasporas. It's the normalification of these things that do cause a lot of pain. So a lot of people would be like, oh, I don't have a problem with beatings because it showed me that I wasn't supposed to do this, even though there's other ways to discipline a child, other ways to correct bad behavior. But since we were shown this one way, we have conditioned it in our minds that this is the only way, this is the true way to behavior that you as a parent deem as unsatisfactory. So Pootie Tang's mother ends up dying when he is 6, so now it forces him and his father to just be alone together. But his father always made sure he corrected him to make sure that Pootie Tang did not turn out like the other kids in the neighborhood. 2 weeks later, after the death of his mother, his father was attacked and beaten up. Girl, I'm sorry, I'm reading my notes right now. His father was attacked and beaten up by a gorilla at work in a factory. On his deathbed, his father gave Pootie Tang his belt and told him that as long as he was on the right side, he can whoop anyone with just the belt, and to not let the ladies come between him and his belt. Years later, Pootie Tang is famous. Like, he is huge. He has records, hit records. He has movies. He's on magazine covers. He has fancy cars, custom clothes. He's the role model to the children. Like, Pootie Tang is everything in a bag of chips. And then it shows a commercial that is being made for children, and Pootie Tang is in this commercial. He tells the children that cigarettes and fast foods are bad like a natty tie, and to not drink malt liquor because you don't need it. This is like funny to me because a lot of the black movies that I've watched, you watch Juice, you watch Friday, you watch Menace to Society, you watch Belly. All these movies, what are they doing? They are drinking malt liquor. They are smoking cigarettes. In this commercial, Pootie Tang is wearing a red blazer top. What did I say about that red? Sacrificing. Him giving out this information, literally putting it in the people's minds to know that life is not that bad. You do not have to turn to these things. Life is not that bad. You don't need to smoke a cigarette. Treat yourself better. Eat vegetables. Do all these things. Even though it doesn't seem like Pootie Tang is doing a big thing, it is a big thing, especially as a person with a platform. It is a big thing to not go the side of the status quo. So the commercial now is cut off, and we are now shown a bald white man named Frank. Frank is in front of a boardroom with other white people. And I want to first talk about the actual great shift in color. Every time we see Frank or we see the rest of these corporate America people, it is so draining. The color is a lot of grays, a lot of blacks. But when we're Pootie Tang and his friends, there's a lot of browns, there's yellows, there's oranges. I just want you guys to kind of notice that. I believe the instrumental that was playing during this part was the payback, the big payback. You guys know where that comes from, you guys know. But that is a sign, a cue, if anything, in movies, music, is what is going to take place. And usually the big payback is used for black people trying to get or avenge the wrongdoings that have been done to them by their oppressor, which are most of the time white people. But in this film, they are using the big payback as the white man taking now from the black man, taking something that they seemed or they felt was deemed and owed to them, which is their consumers. With Frank seeing this commercial, this kind of PSA, he asks the people in the boardroom, what can we do? He's upset that Pootie Tang is making a PSA commercial to the youth. So usually with these PSA commercials being made, there was no difference. They never saw any percentage drops with any of their products. But because it's Pootie Tang and the kids love Pootie Tang, they are actually listening to him. Sale of their burgers now went down 30%. Their cigarettes went down 20%. Whiskey is almost out of business. And they're mad because their business is now failing. Frank starts yelling out, "They're killing us!" Which is funny because actual products that they release are killing these black people. They feel like they are being attacked because what? Their money is being attacked. And they see money more than they see people. They don't care about people. They care about wealth. During this whole time of Frank talking to the people in the boardroom, we are shown that there is a man watching from a camera. Who is this man? This man is Dick Lecter. Dick Lecter is the owner of this corporate America. We are told that he is a psychiatrist. A psychiatrist. Do you know what a psychiatrist does? A psychiatrist is a doctor who specializes in mental health. Drug company being ran by a doctor, making it that the people will actually be hooked to the product. What do I mean by saying this? If there is a psychiatrist running a corporation that sells products like cigarettes, food, candy, all that kind of stuff, they know the scientific components that are needed to put in these products to make them more addictive, to make people more hooked to the product. And I feel like it's very funny of them, very smart of them to name the head of this whole evil man corporation Dick Lecter, which connects it to who? Hannibal Lecter, being one of the smartest killers in movie history. Okay. The scene then cuts to Pootie Tang and his friends hanging out kind of like on the corner of their block. And they are talking about Biggie Shorty's party that is coming up. Biggie likes Pootie Tang and she wants him to be hers. He doesn't really want her like that. Well, for right now, I guess. He doesn't really want her like that. But Biggie Shorty is in it for the long run. His friends are saying that there's gonna be some, let's say, female dogs at the party. And when Pootie Tang hears that, Pootie Tang slaps him. And the friend that says this is Chris Rock. And Chris Rock does play Pootie Tang's dad as well. But that's neither here nor there. He slaps him, not saying anything. And his friend, Chris Rock, says, you right. We gotta respect women. Frank then shows up to their neighborhood in a stretched out limousine. I'm gonna put up pictures through this whole thing. You guys see what kind of neighborhood Pootie Tang and his friends live in. Frank from corporate America is pulling up to this neighborhood. He's looking for Pootie Tang. If you compare the neighborhood to the limousine, it's completely night and day. So when Frank shows up, the guys, they look, because they don't know it's Frank, but they see the limousine. And one thing that stood out to me is when Chucky says this about the limo. He says it's long like an old snake. You guys can see this as a throwaway line, but to me, I see this as a line of foreshadowing. The snake, or we can say Satan, I'm connecting this to a whole bunch of things from the Bible, is on a mission to what? Deceive Eve and Adam to make them fall into temptation. Out of everything, Chucky compared the limousine to a snake. Not just a snake, but a old snake. What's the oldest snake that we know of? Okay. And what is Frank's job is to tempt Pootie Tang into what? We're about to get into that. So Frank comes out the limo and he whispers to the driver. He tells the driver to keep the car running as he puts on a fake smile and act for the guys. Because he sounds scared when he told him to keep it running. But as soon as he turned his head, oh guys, hey guys. And he says this, kind of hot for a hootenanny. Trying to talk like Pootie Tang, completely missing the mark, reminding me of when white people speak in AAVE or slang. I've even heard a few speaking, oh, girl, I don't want to talk about it. But they're speaking in these different ways, these different forms that are usually reserved for black people. The problem isn't the words that they're saying. The problem is that they're missing the entire context of the words that are being used. They are missing the soul. They are missing the life that is put behind the words. It's not the words itself, but it's the history behind the words. But since they do not understand it, they are using it in all different type of contexts. So it's messing up the intended meaning of the words. So Frank starts to talk to Pootie Tang, and he is talking to Pootie Tang like he is slow. He's repeating words over and over again, basically trying to get Pootie Tang to sign the contract, but make it seem like they're doing more for Pootie Tang than Pootie Tang is doing for them. While Frank is basically demeaning Pootie Tang is just standing there. He's just letting him talk, letting him say, get whatever he wants to get off his chest. He then tells Pootie Tang that Lecter can make him a very, very rich man if he works for him. He has a contract for Pootie to endorse a pork rind cereal. I'm sorry. And Pootie tells him, without having to think, nah, D, that's a Capitan to my simichai. Frank then tries to recall and retell Pootie Tang and tell him about the amount of money that they're going to be giving him. He says that Lecter Corps is going to give Pootie Tang $20 million for signing for just 1 year. So for anybody that is in the position of Pootie Tang, because as we can see in the movie, Pootie Tang, yes, he has money. He's not really wanting for nothing. But Pootie Tang is still living in the same neighborhood. You know what I mean? So technically, any position of Pootie Tang, they would just take that money. They would take it. We got to get deeper into why do they want to give you so much money for just doing a couple ads, right? Pootie Tang knows that 1 year is all it takes to destroy his message. Frank is mad that Pootie doesn't want to sign and keeps emphasizing the amount of money. But Pootie Tang's friend, I think it was Chucky, he comes in and tells Frank that they know what he's trying to do. Opens up the contract and shows all the harmful things, not just the cereal, that they want Pootie Tang to endorse. Going through the contract, Lecter Corp wants them to sign. Fine print, Pootie Tang can no longer do PSAs to help the children. He can no longer tell the children how to be healthy and smart. Pootie Tang walks Frank back to his car and basically tells him that Pootie Tang does not sell out, you dig? Frank tells Pootie Tang that they might be your children, but to me, they are nothing but a dollar sign. And as soon as that leaves Frank's mouth, you know what Pootie Tang does? Because Pootie Tang, he's a real one. You know what Pootie Tang does? He whips that belt out and slaps Frank in the mouth. Because how dare you? If Pootie Tang doesn't play about the women, what makes you think Pootie Tang plays about the kids? Before we end off the scene, can we talk about what Pootie Tang is wearing? In this scene, Pootie Tang is wearing a reddish brown burgundy-ish fur coat. Well, you can say fur sweater. I relate fur to animals, as in the natural habitat, as in the natural way of life, as in humans without the glitz and glamour of this world. Pootie Tang is doing what is second nature to him. As they say, he's doing not what he personally wants to do. And I'm not saying that this is not what he personally wants to do, but I'm saying this is what he was born to do. This is what his morals command him to do. He was having this conversation with Frank. Most of the time, Pootie Tang did not say a word. He let his actions speak for him. When Frank told him that these may be your children, but these are dollar signs to me, Pootie Tang didn't tell him, hey, don't say that. Pootie Tang did not tell him how much these children mean to him. What his actions, he showed him. You're not going to use your mouth to defile these children in front of me. With him wearing that brown fur, this is second nature to Pootie Tang. Pootie Tang does not put up a show. He does not put up a farce. Pootie Tang is Pootie Tang. And that kind of shows with him being autistic. Because I realize a lot of autistic people, they can't fake who they are. They just are them. They are just themselves. Either you take it or you leave it. Scene changes with Frank now having a conversation with Dick. He's telling him that Pootie Tang is refusing him and refusing the $20 million. Dick is so mad that Pootie Tang is loved by the people, that he would no longer be a problem. Can we connect this, please? There's a lot of people that us as black people, no matter the diaspora, we see them as inspirational. Whether they are activists, whether they are musicians, we see them as something so inspirational. Because for one, they were able to get out of a community or a situation or environment that a lot of us have been at one point or another, as well as they are able to get into these rooms that we were told time and time again that we will never get into. We look up to these people. At the same time, how many of those people sold themselves out and sold all of us out at the same time? Rappers, instead of talking a more positive messaging, rather result to drugs and violence, pushing the next generation to be in drugs and violence. It's because of these dick lectors that have all this money, they're able to change the messaging of a lot of these people. Do I put it on these people? Yes, I do. Because at the end of the day, your morals should weigh heavier. But at the same time, I cannot fully shame somebody because they don't want to be back in a bad financial position again. But the thing is, people like the dick lectors, they run into so many people that don't want to go back into that poverty that they were born into or that they were raised into, that they will give away anything. Dick wants to keep the people at a low mentally, socially, and economically point. It's because he wants them to depend on his products. If people are at a higher level energetically, physically, mentally, they will not be drinking no malt liquor. They wouldn't have time to be eating these Lector burgers or McDonald's burgers because, for one, they'll have the money to afford better options for their bodies. Two, with these liquors, these cigarettes, these drugs, they will not be so low energetically that they will have to depend on these things. But if these people are taking out of these mental states, economic states, then they no longer have a business. So now their whole job is to keep them there. A part of keeping them there is also breaking down and destroying all of the people that they look up to. The next scene that we are shown is Pootie Tang in the studio working on his album. He is a hardworking man, no shade. He ends up turning down all the sounds, all the instruments, and he goes into the booth. He gets in there and he sings and he moves and he screams. Girl, he has the vein popping out his neck and on the forehead and nothing's coming out. Nothing's coming out. Veins popping out and everything. He's passing out. Everybody is loving it. The girls are going crazy. The girls, the guys, the gays, everybody's going crazy for the new Pootie Tang song. It's called And They Are Loving It. And no, I did not turn the sound down. It's called Just Imagine Me Screaming, Waving My Hands. Pootie Tang doesn't have to say anything and he makes hits. It's his essence. Or you can say it's his black essence. They're all playing it all over music stations. And, you know, it shows a little Asian kid in his room. He going crazy. His dad going there screaming, telling him to turn down that jargon, that mess. He going crazy. There's a black man with his food truck, whatever it is. He going crazy dancing in there too. The women are going crazy for it and they said that he made a hit. And we get a little deeper. Pootie Tang is in the studio wearing a black fur coat. I told you guys what I interpreted the fur to mean. Black color represents power, mourning, and mystery. Pootie is blackness, specifically African American. He's not making a sound, yet his veins are coming out of his head. It shows how much soul and passion and talent that he is giving into his black art. But the song being silent still shows that there is still no understanding being heard, yet the world still feels its impact. It's like a song. A lot of the times with music, people do not pay attention to the lyrics. Just like, hey, y'all not paying attention to the actual lyrics that Andre 3000 is saying. But you guys are feeling the vibes and the vibration and the energy and the excitement that he's giving out with his instrumentals. With Pootie Tang removing all of that, it's showing you guys are entertained by us black people. You guys see no problem with dancing to us black people, but you guys still do not understand the flight, the troubles, the tension, the anxieties, the sadness, the happiness, the prosperity of what it is to be black. This point is even proven more with Biggie Shorty saying that this is going to be the biggest song since the Macarena. I'm gonna ask y'all, what lyrics of the Macarena do you guys know? 1 Maca, 2 Maca, 3 Macarena. 1 Maca run, 1 Macarena. 2 Maca, 3 Maca, 7 Macarena. Hey, Macarena. And I bet you a lot of y'all sing this song just like that. You guys cannot, and I'm gonna include myself, you cannot sing the words to the song, yet you can do every dance move with no issue. And that is blackness. You don't want to be black, but you want to have the black blues. Pooty is now in the club, girl. Pooty is in the club. He gets brought up on the stage by Missy Elliott. He performs with her. He's speaking like Pootie Tang, tippy toe on my capital. And I'm not gonna lie, I was I was laughing the whole time. I ain't gonna hold you. In this scene, he's wearing a patchwork cover like jacket, no shirt on. He has a black fur collar on, which shows the creeping darkness and evil that is going to be introduced in Pooty's life slowly. The patchwork also reminds me of like African garments, but it is all mixtures of his blackness. It's not just one solid pattern. It's so many put together to make this one piece of garment, which is kind of like being black in general. Yes, there's African American black people, there's Jamaican black people, there's Haitian black people, there's African black people, there's all these different types of black people all coming together. We are black, we are one, just like his jacket. It then shows after Pootie Tang comes off the stage, the girls are going crazy for Pootie Tang. They are grabbing on him, kissing on him, touching on him, rubbing on him, girl, groping him up. At the end, there's this girl that ends up going with Pootie Tang, and she is grabbing on him, kissing on his shoulder and all that, pushing herself through the elevator, make sure she gets to go back to Pootie Tang's room. That's nice. She want to put it down on him, put it on him, make him want to marry me, you know? But he leaves her outside his door. She's telling him to give a girl something. Give a girl a little something. And she thought she was going to get a little piece of Pootie Tang. But what Pootie Tang did, he opened that door and left out a bowl of milk. What can you say? I guess she was acting thirsty. So she gets on all fours and starts to drink the milk out the bowl. Pooty just knew that was crazy. He knew that bitch was crazy. And can we break this down real quick? Just real quick, RQ. The black woman in a red dress. Maybe to me, I kind of saw that as like Delilah, the temptress. Pootie Tang plays her no mind. But we'll double back to that Delilah trope though. We will. Tang pulls up on Biggie Shorty. On like the corner, because Biggie Shorty, she likes to be on the corner. She likes to listen to her music on her little Walkman. And she likes to hit them dance moves in her booty shorts. Right? As Pootie Tang leaves, Biggie Shorty's still on the corner. She's just dancing, living her life, just feeling good. Why these two white men, one middle age, one old as hell, too fucking old to be playing these goddamn games, slept to Biggie Shorty thinking that she's a prostitute? Biggie Shorty basically tells him like, a girl can't just look cute and dress in the corner and dance. He is over here wagging his tongue at her, talking about, give me a good time, give me a little sucky. And Biggie Shorty, she gives him what? A 5-finger sandwich, girl. It cuts to Biggie Shorty's party and they are jamming. Chris Rock's character made it a point to say how hard it is to get into Biggie Shorty's party. And then it cuts to Pooty. Pooty is wearing all brown with like a patchwork jacket on at this time. He's sitting with a woman and he's sitting with Biggie Shorty. The woman that he's sitting with is kissing all up on him while he is talking to Biggie Shorty. And Biggie Shorty, she's trying to shoot her shot. No shade. Basically, she said, I don't give a fuck who you around. I don't give a fuck what position it is. I want you. Not the right way. She was on her Marvin Gaye type shit. She was on her Teddy Pendergrass. Turn off the lights. Biggie tells him that, he says he will meet a woman and she will be just like him and will leave him in a dumpster. And Biggie Shorty, she will be there to make sweet love to him and make him feel all good again. While all this is happening, JB, well, I said JB because that's the actor that's playing him, but Truckee, he is looking for a woman that he was dancing with earlier in that night. Looking for the woman, guess who he runs into? He runs into Irene. Girl, when I tell you Irene had a motherfucking mission in her mind. He just comes up to him, starts choking him and slapping him and kissing him and biting him. Girl, wait a minute. I can relate to Irene, no shade. Let me stop. In this scene, Irene is wearing all orange. Told y'all we're gonna get into color theory. Orange for him to trust her. Orange for him to feel a warm kind of presence coming from her, even though she came in slapping him and being aggressive. Orange is a mixture of red and yellow, meaning a mixture of sacrifice and joy. Irene is being sacrificed and used by Dick Lecter, yet Pootie Tang, yet she finds joy from being able to use her sexuality and her white woman charm to get Pootie Tang's secret. During this whole thing with her and Chucky, she's asking him to tell her what makes Pootie Tang so special. And just like in the Bible with my son Samson, the motherfucker spills the secret tells her that it's Pootie Tang's belt that makes Pootie Tang so special. Now we're getting to the end of the party. Pootie Tang is ready to leave the party, so he's walking out. White man just starts screaming at Pootie Tang. He is being held up with a switchblade, basically telling him, like, you know, give me your stuff. Pootie Tang pulls out that belt and starts going to work on that man. After he goes to work on that man, the man pulls out a gun and starts shooting at Pootie Tang. But just like in the beginning, Pootie Tang hits his little dance or whatever, dodging the bullet. As he's dodging it, one of the bullets like repel off his belt and it ricochets into the man. Pootie Tang is down for the count. He is sad because this is not what Pootie Tang wants. He doesn't want to cause destruction. He doesn't want to hurt anybody. He just wants to help and he wants people to leave him the fuck alone. Pootie Tang is crying. He's crying as the music is getting louder. Just like in all those black movies, when somebody's about to die, you know that music gets real loud. Pootie Tang is holding the man. He's shaking him. He's shaking the man. He's shaking the man. He just wants him to come back to life. You hear the cops coming and the cops siren coming. Pootie just keeps shaking him. His friends is telling him, let's go, let's go. Pootie Tang says, no, I cannot leave him like that. You know, Pootie Tang didn't say like that. He was like, sit aside, sit it can. He said, I just can't leave him like that. I can't. As he's shaking him, the man is coming back to life. Enough for Pootie Tang to get up and run away. Pootie is now in the grocery store and Poison by Bell B the Boy, I think that's how you say the name, is starting playing. Poison. And it's setting the scene. Pootie Tang is wearing the same outfit that he did as a child, including the necklace. And what is that showing? History is about to repeat itself. Pootie Tang is being forced to live the lesson that was taught to him as a child. Do not let these ladies come between you and the belt. So as Poison keeps playing, all you hear is poison, poison. Who do we see? We see Irene. Irene is waiting in that aisle for Pootie. And she's wearing like this headdress that kind of resembles Pootie Tang's collar, the feather collar that he was wearing when he saw Missy Elliott. Hey, Chucky says over a narration that the only thing that could come between Pootie and the belt is a hoe. And you can't beat a hoe with a belt because they like that shit. You see that she's starting to walk towards Pootie Tang, like she's strutting with her cart and she's just knocking everything down in her way. What does that show? I don't know, that's kind of giving me Manifest Destiny. I'm just throwing that one out there though. It's giving Manifest Destiny, but let's continue. So as she finished knocking all these things out the way, she rams into Pootie Tang's cart and she's like, oh, did I hit you? I'm sorry for hitting you with my cart. She walks up to Pootie Tang and just starts slapping Pootie Tang in the face, slapping him. And then she pushes him on the floor. And then she gets on top of him and she just starts kissing him. It's a nice little transition to the scene. And Irene takes him back somewhere. I don't know where she took Pootie Tang back to her house. I don't know. And she lights a red candle. She's blowing it in Pootie Tang's face. He's looking a little bit like he's under like a spell or something. And what does Irene do? While my son Pootie Tang is in a daze, she pulls out the contract and gets Pootie Tang to sign it while she's holding his hand as he's signing it. Bitch, that's coercion, bitch. That don't even count. That's neither here nor there. Pootie Tang is really getting fucked, girl. She is laying, like she's on top of Pootie Tang, like straddling him and low-key doing some things to him. He's getting fucked literally, spiritually, in all forms. She then takes his belt, and as soon as she takes his belt, Dick walks in. So Dick Lecter did fuck Pootie Tang. Walks in and immediately is like, now you work for us, with his little goddamn evil voice. Dick says, now you are in the corporation with us. You thought you could stay away? Basically saying that they can take the top black representation and turn them. It don't matter. And what made Pootie Tang think that he was any different or any special? He tells Pootie Tang that he is all and everything that Pootie Tang is. So basically telling Pootie Tang that he's nothing. He stole Pootie Tang's identity. So the news breaks that Pootie Tang is now supporting Lecter Corp. And it shows like everything destroying in the black community. And it shows black people, you know, coming on talking about how Pootie Tang used to be my kid's superhero. And now my kid is saying, fuck Pootie Tang. One of the kids is saying that they looked up to Pootie Tang more than they looked up to their own dad. But now since he sold out, they don't want anything to do with Pootie Tang. The black community needs people to back and support that aren't being used for race or for profit. Someone that actually cares about the lives and the development of black people as a whole, not just seeing what they can gain from them. The company now owns Pootie Tang's image, his name, everything that goes with Pootie, which is something that is done across the board so that these celebrities won't make a dime off of all the hard work that they have done. They become a puppet to the man, like Serena selling Ozempic. Pootie Tang and his likeness now belongs to the corporation. He is now forced to do commercials for sneakers, food, whiskey, cigarettes, mace, rat poisoning, switchblades. Look at all the celebrities in these random ass commercials. They are owned. Then a song starts to play. Why'd you sell out, Pooty? And when I think about these celebrities, girl, I think about Megan Thee Stallion. I think about Girl Diddy, Jay-Z. I think about Kilo Neal. I think about Charles Barkley. I think about Michael Jordan. And I tell you, the list continues and continues. Biggie Shorty is now on the same late night show that Pootie Tang was in the beginning of the film. And the interviewer basically is saying that Pootie Tang is a sellout. He's scraping the bottom of the barrel. And Biggie tells him the truth. He tells him that Pootie Tang was drugged by Irene. She says, haven't you been watching the movie? Basically saying, haven't you seen this happen time and time before? Why are you acting brand new to this idea? Interviewer jumps in to say that Pootie Tang is telling the children not to go to school. He's telling the kids to do drugs and to eat fast food. Biggie keeps turning that idea down. She's telling him that he doesn't know Pootie Tang. And he tells her that he does know Pootie Tang. And she tells him, if you knew Pootie Tang, then you knew that this was not him. And Biggie tells him that if the world falls for this, then the world doesn't deserve Pootie Tang. The white man, I ain't gonna hold it, he was dead pissing me off. He acting like he know Pootie Tang longer than his longest friend knows Pootie Tang. Like I said, some of these people want to act like they know, but they don't really know. The interviewer ends up asking Biggie Shorty, what do you think Pootie Tang needs right now? Biggie Shorty tells him, I think he needs a little of her loving and he'll be all right. I don't know about that, Biggie Shorty. I don't know about that. So Pootie Tang now, he is wearing the same outfit that he was wearing when he was drugged by Irene. He is all disheveled. He is walking around watching people throw bottles at his theater. I think it's interesting that everything in the neighborhood is run down and has graffiti all over it except for Pootie Tang's theater. Big and it has glowing lights. And I think it shows how much Pootie Tang really meant to the community. The song says, he used to be a hero and now he's a big fat zero. Pootie Tang is just walking around. His clothes is falling off of him and people are passing him and cursing him out. Calling him all type of sellout, all type of bitches. No shade. He goes to Biggie Shorty and she holds him. And she takes care of him and she makes him feel happy. And girl, Biggie Shorty gets what she wanted. She finally has sex with Pootie Tang. Right after they have sex, Pootie Tang changes into this all denim outfit, representing his sadness, loss of self-identity, and loss of feelings. He decides to leave and go to the farm to find himself, which is Biggie Shorty's farm. It then shows Dirty D and he's in prison and he's excited to get a little piece of dirt. Talking about how I need to be dirty. I'm Dirty D, goddammit. He wants to stop Pootie Tang because he is the reason why Dirty D is in there. As Pootie Tang is about to get on the bus to get to the country town, Chucky confesses to Pootie Tang and tells him that he is the reason why Irene came to him and took his belt and knew to take his belt. And he only did it for a little bit of cool cat. And Pootie Tang, he forgives him. Because Pootie Tang, he understands that we all sometimes got an itch that we want to scratch. When they get to the farm, girl, Pootie Tang is asking, he is picking. And Chucky is being ain't shit. Like he was the whole time. He ends up leaving Pootie Tang in the farm because it was just too much for him. But as he leaves, Pootie Tang really get a deeper understanding of himself. And you know what we finally see in the film? Can I tell you what we finally see in the film? As Pootie Tang finally gets to being himself again, getting back to the groove of himself, feeling rejuvenated, what do we see? We see our first sign of red, white, and blue all together, city boys, with the red old car that Pootie Tang starts to clean off. So now Pootie Tang, he is taking care of the land. He is planting, he is painting the fence, he's doing all these kind of things. It kind of shows a little bit of his autism a little bit more. How he was planting his crops, like every single day he's just looking at it to grow inch by inch. Every single day he's on top of it inch by inch. Pootie Tang is achieving his American dream. He's achieving his true freedom. Freedom for himself, freedom for his people. Even on the farm, Pootie Tang is in his cowrie shell bracelet. Even though it's not around his neck anymore, it's on his hands. What does that represent? Because at first, when Pootie Tang was all around, what was he using to represent himself? His words. But now he's on the farm, there's no use for words anymore. So what is representing him now? His actions. Actions that were created with his hands. Dirty Dom comes out of jail and he meets with Dick Lecter. And they are discussing Pootie Tang. First prerogative is to destroy Pootie Tang. Even though Dick Lecter owns the rights to Pootie Tang, his looks, everything, he doesn't want the real Pootie Tang to ever come back to the city. During this whole conversation, Dick ends up telling Dirty Dom that he has things that are in all of his products to make them ultra addictive. And he starts to talk about this thing called MSD. MSD is the movie's version of MSG, or probably crack or cocaine. You know, they was putting cocaine in that Coca-Cola. Dick says that today Americans kids don't eat because they're hungry. They eat because they need to have another Lecter burger. We can connect this to McDonald's, Popeyes, KFC, all of these places. People are literally fighting over a chicken sandwich. People are shooting people over a chicken sandwich. Like, it's actually sick. All of these celebrities make these food collabs, these fast food collabs, not caring about the livelihood of the people that support them. They're just caring about the profit that comes with it. He says that he doesn't need the real Pootie Tang anymore because he already owns him and his likeness. He has hundreds of imposter Pootie Tangs, and he just needs to give them the clothes and make them watch these training tapes. And then it shows the freaking guy in the wheelchair in Scary Movie 2. He is in blackface, dressed up as Pootie Tang. He is mimicking Pootie Tang and showing them how to do the Pootie Tang quote-unquote walk. Now let's break this down real quick, city boys. What does this scene give? It's giving the minstrel show. The white man didn't need a black person to perform anymore because they believe that they can just do the exaggerated movements, paint themselves as black as they possibly can, and make the money. They're making the money and they're keeping the money, making fun of black people and profiting off of blackness. That's what it's giving. Dick plans on opening a burger restaurant in Pootie Tang's name, and he doesn't want the real Pootie Tang to show up, so he needs him to die. But Pootie Tang cannot die. John tells him that because he's tried so many times to kill Pootie Tang and he just can't die. That's when Dick pulls out the belt and he says, girl, now he is able to die. Now he is vulnerable. Basically, Don ends up telling him, all right, so we have the belt, but now we need to know where Pootie Tang is. I don't know where he is. And Dick tells him, I know where everyone is at. No one can hide from corporate America. What is corporate America? Corporate America is the big brother. The big brother. They see everything. They don't know everything, but they see everything. They see the sheriff's daughter is on Pootie Tang's land. I didn't even tell y'all. So basically what ended up happening is there's this white girl, the sheriff's daughter, and the sheriff wants to marry his daughter off to anybody. So he wants Pootie Tang to marry his daughter. His daughter ends up showing up to Pootie Tang's land with a pie. Pootie Tang is like rubbing the pie all over himself. And what kind of pie is it though? It's a cherry pie, or should I say an American pie. Now this is our second time seeing the red, white, and blue. Because you could count her skin as white, but I'll say Pootie Tang's shirt white, overalls blue, pie red. He rubs it all over his body. As he's rubbing the pie all over his body, Stacy starts to moan, and I guess it's turning her on, his stained white tank top. She then throws the pie on the floor. He tells her he's going to do her. He tackles him through the glass onto the floor, and then they have a time, I guess. Stacy is now not the quiet, white, shy girl that she displayed before. Stacy is a freaky freak. And mind you, she's all shy, rubbing on her arm before they want to speak. But now she got the energy to tackle a man through the side of a house. But Biggie Shorty is just a girl dancing all cute, but gets picked up thinking that she's a hooker. Okay. Biggie breaks down the interaction and says that Pootie cannot stand a woman not loving herself. So he has to put a little loving on her. And since he's not good with words, he just puts it down. That works for you, Pootie Tang. Back in the city, while Pootie Tang is gone, everything is going wrong. People are drinking. People are fighting. The kids are not going to school. The people are smoking, girl, watching destruction. We're just watching the destruction of black communities. While this is happening, corporate America, they're having a field motherfucking day, girl. They are making so much money, girl. They're making so much money. This shows that the same people that were angry with Pootie Tang for selling out is telling him to come back because there has been destruction since he's left. Back on the ranch, Pootie is talking to the cornstalk because it died. He said that it was the third worst thing to ever happen to him, showing his hyperasphyxiation, because how can corn be on the same level as losing both of your parents and your belt? He's on his knees, he's crying, and Pootie Tang asks for a miracle. And the cornstalk turns into his father and is telling him to never run from his problems. Cal turns into his mother. I need to jump in between this, please, guys. Can I tell you guys what this reminds me of? This reminds me of black women in slavery. Black women were forced to feed the slave masters babies because white women do not produce as much milk as black women. So they were forced to neglect their own babies to feed their oppressors' babies. So black women were used as cattle, not just as labor, also as food, as supply. And we could get deeper into it as cannibalism, but we're not going to talk about this in this film because it's not important. But it is kind of important because he did make his mother a cow. So as Pootie Tang is crying, his father basically tells him that there's nothing special about his belt. It's a placebo. Bought the belt from the Piggly Wiggly for 59 cents. And for me, what this shows is like the outsider will never understand the importance of something. It's not about how much it costs. It's about the significance around the item. Let's say, for example, I would give the N-word, right? With the A at the end. It's not, well, it is about the word, but it's not significantly about the word that black people are angry for them using, but it's the significance behind the word. If you have not felt this struggle, if you had to not fight this fight, if you never felt this prejudice against you, what gives you the right to use these words? Which is kind of like the belt. The belt in itself is not important, but it's the significance that his father had placed on the belt. It is the significance that Pootie Tang has seen be placed on the belt to make him believe in the belt. The reason why I brought up the N-word is just like with these white people, Spaniards, anybody that is not African American using the N-word, they will tell you that it's just a word. Why can't I use it? It's just a word. But if it was just a word, they would never use the word if it was not popularized by African Americans. Even Ebonics, AAVE, it was so looked down upon for so long until they saw how big it was with African Americans, so that they decided to take from them. But they did not truly understand the meaning of these things. Pootie Tang then gets himself up, fills up his gas tank, and runs into the sheriff, talk to him about Stacy. Stacy's a little bit different. She's somewhere on the spectrum as well, but he wants her to marry him. Pootie Tang kind of turns him down, and the sheriff pulls out a gun on Pootie Tang. Pootie Tang then pulls out his handgun, which is his hand shaped as a gun, on the sheriff. For me, that also kind of shows, again, Pootie Tang being a little bit on the spectrum, because yes, it's kind of shot for humor, but it's not humorous being forced to marry somebody. Kind of counterbalance with that is him using his finger guns. Pootie Tang, he is on the spectrum. I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna continue though. As this is all going on, Froggy and Dirty Dan ends up showing up to the small town for Pootie Tang. And when the sheriff is trying to calm things down between the men, he gets slapped up in his mouth and face. And the disrespect starts to activate Pootie Tang's pimp hand. You know, Pootie Tang don't play that shit. Pootie Tang walks up to Frog and punches him dead in his face. Dom gets nervous and shows Pootie Tang that he got his belt and he's wearing it. He's wearing the thing that holds all of Pootie Tang's energy and all of his charisma. So he motherfucking thinks. Then they have like this old Western style kind of like standoff until they get nose to nose, back to back. Don hits Pootie with his belt. It's just not working. Like, he's hitting him, but it's like the belt didn't have any Viagra. It's very limp. And I tell you, Pootie Tang, belt back, girl, and starts going. He puts belt to ass on Dirty Dom. The scene then changes, and girl, the sheriff is not playing. He wants Pootie Tang to marry his goddamn daughter, goddamn Stacy. What's wrong with Stacy? Stacy can't get a man for herself, goddamn. As the wedding is about to go down, Truckee ends up showing up, breaking up the wedding to let Pootie Tang know that, girl, Chicago is in flames. You need to come back. You need to fix stuff, because Dick, he's really messing things up. Pootie Tang is like, all right, bet. Takes the hat off, gives the hat to Truckee. Now Truckee gotta marry Stacy. Pootie Tang then comes back up to Chicago. As he gets there, it's the perfect time because now they are opening up the burger joint, Pootie Tang's quote-unquote burger joint. And it is Dick Lecter, and he had Scary Movie 2 Wheelchair Man as fake Pootie Tang in blackface, looking like Robert Downey Jr. when he was in blackface in that war movie. I still don't understand the whole fucking point, but next, let's get to it. We'll get to that. What really had me is as soon as Pootie Tang gets there, the fake Pootie Tang is on the mic, and he's like trying to talk and jive, but it just made no motherfucking sense. Like, it was hard, but I'm gonna put the clip in right here. Pootie Tang is now trying to just break this all up because it's like, all right, y'all did too much, y'all went too far, like, let's really wrap it up. Dick is like, we ain't wrapping shit up, my boy. And he says, if you really want to break this up, I have mad Pootie Tangs here to fight you. When I tell you guys, there was white Pootie Tangs, Indian Pootie Tangs, black Pootie Tangs, biracial Pootie Tangs, women Pootie Tangs. Yes, there was women Pootie Tangs. There was so many Pootie Tangs. So Pootie, you know, one thing about Pootie Tang, he don't give a fuck about nothing. He gonna put belt to ass. Pootie Tang is, why y'all? And he's whipping ass, and he's not taking no names because fuck they names, because they want to be Pootie Tang. He's going crazy. And while Pootie Tang is beating up all these men and women, because Biggie Shorty is in the crane, she's not letting Dick get away from it. Sound crazy. But no, true though, she's not letting Dick get away from it. She ends up dropping the Pootie Tang sign on Dick's car. And the movie ends with Biggie, Shorty, and Pootie Tang getting married. Truckee and Stacy are still married, and everybody else is just living. Can I give you guys my conspiracy theory? My conspiracy theory from this film is that Pootie represents all these celebrities that start off good, trying to show people from their demographic that they can win too. They never have to change themselves to fit into whatever the status quo is, or whatever boundaries are being placed on you because of your race or your ethnicity. But once that message begins to shine too bright, the industry or the corporation then come in to try to buy this person out. And they make some type of agreement because they want this money. And slowly, as the person in the audience begin to see a lot of changes that start to come with this person, a lot of things that they either stop talking about or talking a lot about, or things that they used to stand for that they are no longer standing for. Some may agree because of the money, and you see them begin to slightly change or stop speaking about the topics that they used to stand for, or the people that completely change as if they were never the other person to begin with. Cough, cough, Kanye. So now I want to talk to you guys about a little bit of my research that I kind of got into, talking about color theory and stuff like that. First, I wanted to talk about the cowrie shells that were shown throughout this film, and I'm going to put up the pictures. This does connect him back to Africa, or it does connect him back to the indigenous Africans, well, the indigenous Americans that were here before the Europeans came to America. I'm gonna say it like that. Cowrie shells are known to bring good luck and protection, the spirit of the wearer, not just the person but their spirit as well. And this is shown in Pootie Tang. Pootie Tang wears this throughout the whole film, and it shows how protective Pootie Tang is. In the film, Dirty Don says, even before we even got to the events in the film, how many times he's tried to kill Pootie Tang. And people are thinking, oh, it's because of his belt. No, Pootie Tang is spiritually protected. He is spiritually loved by his ancestors. Next, I want to talk about the tortoise print on his glasses, which is shown the glasses that he wore as a little kid, as well as the glasses that he wore while he was getting seduced by Irene. Around the world, tortoise or the turtle can be seen as a symbolism of wisdom and knowledge, and is also able to defend itself on its own. It can be regarded as a personification of water, the moon, the earth, time, and mortality. Does that not represent Pootie Tang in totality? He is wise beyond his age. That's why even as a little kid, so many people are looking up to Pootie Tang. I don't want to glorify this, but that's probably another way they were showing with him having such a way with women, not girls but women, because he was so wise beyond his age. Next, I want to talk about the yellow tint that was in his glasses, because usually when we hear about tints in glasses or in sight, we're talking about rose-colored glasses. That's what we always say. And rose-colored glasses usually describe optimism, cheerfulness, naive perspective that like overlooks like negative aspects or like hazard, anything like that. But now when we're talking about yellow tinted, yellow meaning optimism, shine, warmth, it's associated with clarity, memory, energy, stimulation to the brain and nervous system. Also in many cultures, it's connected to enlightenment, learning. Like in India or ancient Egypt, it is connected with wealth, success, and high status. What did they say in the first scene once we got a little bit of Pootie Tang's backstory? It talked about how successful Pootie Tang became, how much of a star Pootie Tang is. We're gonna go into the whole sense of hope. That was the whole point of Pootie Tang in his community, with him creating the PSAs to the children, with him creating these movies and this music. It was all in ways to uplift and add love and cheerfulness to the children, to give the children something to look forward to, someone to aspire to be. The next thing that I want to talk about is Pootie Tang's car. Pootie Tang's car is the color of blue. Blue represents calmness, trust, loyalty, stability. It promotes serenity, confidence, intelligence, all those kind of things. If it's a deeper shade of dark, it can represent sadness, but it was a light shade of dark, closer to white. It's cruising in his calmness. When Pootie Tang ever checks anybody, like I said, most of the time he doesn't even use his words, he uses his actions. And just off his actions, he doesn't even have to say much, because his friends say the rest for him. It's driven around in power. Pootie Tang is a power to be reckoned with. The next thing I want to talk about is the red candle that Irene used. I thought I was gonna get onto that one. Witchcraft. Candles. Red candles are used highly during witchcraft to symbolize passion, strength, courage, and vitality. Often used to manifest desires, increase physical energy. If you can increase physical energy for one, then not decrease for the other, it's kind of like a parasite. When one gets stronger, the other one gets weaker. In the scene when she was on top of Pootie Tang, dominating Pootie Tang, she was getting hype. And if you looked at Pootie Tang, he was getting lower. Vibrationally, he was drugged. Even after the scene, after he signed the paperwork, him energetically was lowered because she siphoned him. The red in the candle can also represent life force, blood, physical health, well as it can be used for aggressive magic. Aggressive as in, you want it right now. You need it to happen now. And what did she need right now? She needed was Pootie Tang's belt, and she got it expeditiously, and Pootie Tang to sign over on that contract. The next thing that I wanted to talk about is the cherry pie. In religious and spiritual context, cherries represent divine fruit, renewal, and new beginnings. Can I say that again? Sacrifice, revival, and new beginnings. That's what cherries represent. Right after Pootie Tang had that little cherry explosion with Stacy, what happened right after? Renewal and new beginnings. He got replenished, and he went back to Chicago and defeated Dick Lecter. The second to last point I wanted to talk about was, why was his parents turned into what they were turned into? So first, his father. Why was his father turned into corn? Corn holds profound spiritual significance, apparently symbolizing fertility, divine provision, abundance, and the scarce connection between humanity and the earth. It represents life, surveillance, and substance, and often viewed as a gift from the divine that connects the physical and the spiritual realm. We're not going to let that go over our heads. We're going to continue to go deeper into it, and then we're going to go overall. So can we talk about, in the Bible, God represents blessings, provisions, and fruitfulness of the land. That is shown through corn. Corn was Pootie Tang's father. What did Pootie Tang's father do for Pootie Tang in the film? He gave him provision. He gave him direction. He gave him structure. He is one of the reasons why Pootie Tang's morality level was so high. It is a gift, is viewed as a gift from the divine. What did Pootie Tang's father gift him with? He gifted him with the belt. But it wasn't the belt that was the gift. It was what the belt represented and symbolized, which was the gift for Pootie Tang and the gift that he took on with him through the rest of his life. Next, we're going to talk about his mother. Why is his mother a cow? Not because she's a big black woman. Come on, let's get deeper into it. The female cow holds profound spiritual significance as a universal symbol of a sacrificed female, unconditional nourishing. She embodies fertility, patience, and the abundance of life, often associated with providing sustenance, comfort, and in some traditions, wisdom. From his mother, what did Pootie Tang gain? Through this film, Pootie Tang has not only sacrificed himself, Pootie Tang does not care about himself. He cares about the message that he is giving out to these children and the people. Pootie Tang is filled with wisdom. Even though he does not speak, let's say, in proper colloquial English, he is heard and understood without even saying a word. He is comfort. Through his fashion sense, it does show a little bit of his femininity. Not saying that he is less of a man, because Pootie Tang is a man, but he is light. He's a little bit of flagrancy. He can let go sometimes and let somebody else take charge. Femininity is kind of showed in his relationship with Biggie Short. He lets her kind of take the rails a little bit. Let's continue. The last point that I want to get to is Dick's car. Look at Dick's car. I'm gonna put up an image. He is the devil. The black car is like a hearse. He is the Grim Reaper. He's death to community, death to anything against him. Pootie Tang is the American dream, as imperfect as he is. My last point, because remember I told you guys about Delilah. Pootie Tang falling for the white Delilah and not falling for the black one shows how many black men lower their boundaries and barriers for a woman that is the opposite of their race or ethnicity. Because you were taught so much to see the enemy in those who look like you easier than you are taught to see the enemies of those who look unlike you. I brought up Chris Rock's character saying how hard it is to get into one of Biggie Shorty's parties to show how easy it is for white women to infiltrate themselves into black culture, into a black overall picture, but party as in the story. I mean, as in the movie. I wanted to talk about the apple. Isn't that funny? Temptation as well. Well, in the Bible, it was said, do not bite the apple. Well, it wasn't the apple, but it was the fruit. But the apple is what's being shown to us a lot through media and stuff like that. Pootie Tang was going to steal the apple, and his father was not there. Yet his father slapped him with the belt. I believe the story of Pootie Tang is also the story of Samson. His father gave him his belt. Samson's power was in his hair. The father tells him, well, Pootie Tang believes that his power is within his belt. The whole time the power is in Pootie Tang. As well as how Delilah came into Samson's life for wealth, prosperity, and for the whole time, yes, Samson had to go through a lot of tribulations, but the power was within Samson. Like how Irene was placed into his life by Dick Lecter. And also, I like Lecter part. Dick, because he's also fucking everybody. Like, he's fucking the world. Like, 2 movies that may be broken down next. Let me know which one you guys would want first. The first one is Juice, and the next one is Coffee, starring Pam Grier. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please leave any comments that you have down below. Any criticisms, any thoughts, any opinions. Did I make you guys think of something that you never thought of before? Did I bring a new idea to you? Did you already think of these things? Are you thinking that I'm thinking a little too deep into these things? So make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Subscribe to become a city boy. Quote to saint, nevermore. Bye, city boys. Mwah.